That ain't good. I'm gonna show you how I fix that. And we're gonna do it right now. So as you can see, my ramp is in a bit of disrepair. And it's been like this for a little while. And all this right here is starting to rot away. All these boards. So I'm going to replace it. And there's a bunch of different ways you could do this, but basically I'm gonna replace this with the same thing. But I'll try and give you some tips along the way of different ways you could do it. I'm gonna start by ripping all this out. One thing I do want to mention before I tear this out is I have this drop right here, which doesn't really affect me in any way. I have no problems getting in or out of here, but if you wanted this to be even, just keep that in mind. In my case, what I would have to do is take these doors off and then build the ramp flush, and then I'd have to cut the doors down and then put door sweeps on, and for the amount of effort that that's going to take, I don't think it's worth it. I'm going to start by taking this little strip off here. And everybody's situation is going to be different. I doubt you'll have a strip like this. Let's see how well this is assembled. So I'm seeing rot already. Yeah, I don't like that. So that is the frame of the shed. Hopefully there's not much of that. One reason this may have rotted out is because I don't think that's pressure treated. So we're definitely going to replace this with pressure treated wood, and it should last a lot longer. Let's take a look. I was hoping to just reuse that, but I was also hoping to not have a bunch of rot right here. Either way, I'm going to pull this off and assess the damage. Really not great. Well, since I intended on this being a simple ramp video and I've opened up a can of worms, obviously, I'm going to make another video on how to replace this. But in this video, I'll show you some magic. Ready? Magic. It's done. And it wasn't magic. So if you want to see how I did it, I'll leave a link in the description over that video when it's out. But now, we can build our ramp. First step, I'm going to figure out the width going this way of the ramp. I'm going to go about in the same place. So make it a little shorter. And that is going to be 40 inches. So I'm going to cut one of those so I can kind of figure out where this is going to land. I'm going to use 2x6, exactly what was there. And this is rated for ground contact, but that doesn't mean it's invincible. So I'm going to do a couple things to make sure that this doesn't rot out as quickly as that one did. I just realized I could get 3 pieces out of here if I make it 39 inches. 39 there, because this is a 10-footer. 39 here, yeah, 41. So let's do that. A piece like this and just set it up, and look, this end, it's a little shorter than the other one, and I think that's going to work just fine. I'm going to hold it up to this plywood. I added this lip so that when the door closes, it will stop mice from coming in. And this really is more like a plank than a ramp, because it's straight. This ground goes like this, but this piece is going to go kind of straight. So if I was to do this at more of an angle, I would cut this at an angle, and then when I put my ledger on, I would rip that at an angle. So that's something you might have to do. But me, this is pretty simple. So over here, I'm going to hold this up where it needs to be, and then I'm going to mark underneath. That's going to tell me where my ledger board is going to go. Same thing on this side. Right there. Before, this was a little smaller than this opening. I'm going to make it about the size of this opening. If it's a little smaller, a little bigger, that's fine. But I'm just going to do my ledger to the width here. And just so I can get an idea of where this is going to go, I'm going to mark center. This is 5 feet, so that is 30 inches to the center. And these are 2x6s. So they're going to be 5.5 inches. In order to make sure this doesn't rot out as fast, I'm going to leave a space. These are probably going to shrink up eventually, but I'll put a space, and I'm okay if the quarter turns into half even. But just to get an idea here, let's do 5.5 inches plus 1/8. And this is where we'll start our first board on either side of that line. So like that, and then 5.5 plus 1/4, 5 3/4, 5.5 plus 1/4, 5.5 plus 1/4, 5.5 plus 1/4. Puts me right there. That is actually where the end is going to be about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is going to be the same size. So we'll do the same thing on this side. 5 3/4, 5 3/4, and 5 3/4. And then I'll leave my tape about 1/4 inch past this so that the ledger board will be hidden. Doesn't have to be exact. And then right here, so 57.5 on 2x4. Now I can take my ledger and hold it up here and nail it on those lines. And I'm using a framing gun. You could use screws or hand nail it. These are 3.5 inch galvanized nails. I'm just going to hold it back just a little shy of that line and hold it right on that line. Put one nail in there. Now make sure I'm past this line a little bit, just so you can't see the ledger board. I think it'll just look cleaner. And hold it on this line. Put one nail here. And I'm not concerned with this being level or not. What I am concerned with is that it will allow me to get the board in, which it won't right there. That's why I only put one nail in. Right there, it is tight, but it lets me go in. So let's drop this down a little bit. Might be all I need. I'm just going to make sure this is good all the way. It's pretty tight down here. You can drop it down a little bit. So again, I don't care if it's level or not. I just care that I'm going to be able to get my board in here, and it's going to be nice and flush under here. But I know that I'm good, so I can nail it off. Right into the joist. That ain't going anywhere. Now I'm going to take this board to the length that I want, and I want to add a 2x4 underneath here just to keep all of these even and give it kind of a nice foundation, if you will. So I'm just going to drag this where it's going to go, because I do have to dig down a little bit. Basically right there. So I'll dig that out just a little bit. Now I am okay with kind of burying this part of this and just having it sit on the dirt. If you wanted to come up with some kind of concrete pad or some other solution, that's cool. But again, every situation's different. So now I'll cut another 2x4 at 57.5, the same as my ledger. And that's gonna sit here, and then the ramp will sit on top of it. So I'll put this right here to get an idea. This in here, it'll sit back like this. And then I can kind of fill this in, make the ground even right there. Check over here. Kind of regraded this whole thing when I redid that joist. I think that's gonna be good. So what I'm gonna do, you could build this separately, build it and then put it in, but it's gonna be pretty heavy, and just make sure it's square when you put it in. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start in the center on one of these lines, making sure to leave my 1/4 inch gap all the way. I just wanna make sure that wherever I'm putting my piece here, I'm also putting it in the same place on this board down here. So I'm on my mark right here, and I'll just put one nail in, just like that, down to the ledger board that I put in. And then I can get my 2x4 set up here. I can already just tell that it needs to go this way. Measure off of here, like this. It'll tell me that I need to put this board at 29 and 5/16. 29 and 5/16. I'm gonna make it flush right here. Again, put one nail in so I can still move this around, just like that. And then I can take a framing square off of the shed, and you'll see it's a little out of square, and that's why I only put one nail in, so I could move it either way. Looking good there. So now I can go cut the rest of my board. If you wanted to, as an extra step after cutting all these, you can seal all your cuts with something like this. This is just another thing you can do to try and make this last longer, but I'll leave it up to you. And now I can go to the other side of the line, or a 1/4 inch. And did you know that a carpenter's pencil is a 1/4 inch and a 1/2 inch? So I'm going to use that to measure my 1/4 inch. One nail, 1/4 inch down here. Make sure this is flush. Next, 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch. Keep this relatively flush. And at this point, I should be good to just put all my nails in here and just check this for square as I go. Looking good. And the only other reason I might want to put a piece in here is to keep these all even. But it'd be different if it was going the other way, which, by the way, you could do. I would suggest doing like a frame going down this way, kind of like joists, but at an angle. And then you can kind of do it like deck boards like this. It's all the way in here. Nail it off. Flush. Last board. That worked out where the ledger is hidden. Oh yeah, and you probably want to make sure your door's going to shut. We can continue on this side. little out of flush right here. That's okay. Out of flush? Is that even a thing? Yeah, I'm gonna say I don't need anything in the middle. And as far as the front, I could dig this out and make it basically the same as the shed. So put a 4-foot level on the shed, and if it's out a little bit, make this out a little bit, or if it's perfectly level, make this perfectly level. But I think this is good. It's got a little bit of a pitch to it, not too much, and what I'll end up doing is next year, once this all dries out, I'll paint this with a non-slip texture with some porch and floor paint, and I think we'll be good. Well, we almost got this done before it rained, but we had to take a little break, and we're back. And all I'm gonna do to finish this is kind of grade this a little bit, and I'm gonna try and leave this exposed right here and give it plenty of airflow with these right here, and this under here has plenty more space than it did before. So that should prolong the life of it. And I can seed this and get a nice ramp. So if you had to do something like this, I hope the video helped you out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Ooh, lackluster. Can't be broke no more. That ain't good. Sup, ho? Tetanus. Ah, all over me. Hold on. Maybe we should make one video. Roots. It'll keep it square. No, that's not what I wanted to do. This is stupid. It'll help to hold it together, keep it square, but I'm gonna put mine first down. I mean, down first. Get it? Go sports. No, but for reals, should have made that one nicer. Now it is. Oh no. Guess we gotta fix that.